Hello again everybody, today I'm back and today I'm going to be doing my TBR for the BookTubeAthon, which starts tomorrow. So this is the first year I've taken part in this. I've been aware of it for the past few years but never really had the chance to do it, and this is the perfect time for me to get started with it. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to link the YouTube channel and the Twitter and everything for BookTubeAthon down below in the description, so any of you that are interested can have a look at what it is, but I'm sure most of the people that are watching these kind of videos on YouTube, you're going to know what it is, and you're going to love it already, and you're going to be really excited to see everybody taking part in this show, and it should be fab. So each year, Ariel, who hosts the BookTubeAthon, comes up with a series of challenges to try and complete over the course of the 7 days of the BookTubeAthon itself. And this year, there are 7 challenges which are really, really interesting, actually a really good selection of stuff, from things based on book covers, to based on when you're reading the books, to what kind of things you're reading. It's just a really interesting way of kind of coming up with a TBR for the 7 days. So without further ado, I'm going to get into telling you what I'm going to be reading over the course of the next 7 days. So the first challenge is to read a book with a yellow cover. So I'm actually going to read 2 of these. One was just happened, I realised was yellow after I'd chosen to read it, and the other one I chose specifically because it was yellow. So the first is The Evolution of Everything by Matt Ridley. So I've talked about this a few times. It's a really interesting kind of mixture of popular science and history and pop culture, and just a really interesting selection of genres that I really like. It's been a book I've been looking forward to getting around to reading for a while, and this is the perfect excuse. The second book is Straitjacket by Matthew Todd. Now I know what you might be thinking, looking at this. It's not a yellow cover. This is a proof copy. The actual book does have a yellow cover, so I'm kind of claiming that as a win as well. But basically I've talked about this quite a lot on here over the past few months as a book I'm really excited about, been really looking forward to reading, and I'm amazed with myself that I haven't read it yet, but this is the time for me. It's basically about the links between mental illness and people on the LGBT spectrum, and how it's kind of a really unchallenged, untackled issue that really needs to be worked on. And I've heard a few people that have read this, a few people that have seen him do talks, have absolutely raved about it, and I'm really intrigued to see what it's like for myself. Challenge number 2 is to read a book by one of your favourite authors. Now again, this has given me the chance to do something I've been wanting to do for a while. So, you'll know, anyone that's watched this channel for the past 12 months or so will know that roughly around last summer, I started rereading the Ariel books by Garth Nix, which is my favourite series ever, and he is my favourite author ever. So, it's really interesting that I only actually got to the end of book 2, so this, reading a book by my favourite author, is the perfect chance to reread book 3, Abhorsen. So the way that the second book finishes, it's kind of strange. It's almost like nowadays when they're doing these film adaptations, and it's part 1 and part 2, and it ends on a big cliffhanger, and you're kind of halfway through the story. That's what these books are like, so I'm really excited to get into the third one. So the next 2, again, I've kind of combined these challenges together. So one of them is to watch a film of a book and read the book at the same time during this week. So actually, I've been buying quite a lot of classics recently, and particularly H.G. Wells classics. And so, based on that, I'm going to be watching and reading The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. He's a really interesting author, really interesting mixture of kind of, you can see where modern sci-fi came from his books. So I'm really intrigued to give that a read as well. I've seen the film before, but it's going to be really interesting to read them, really interact with them both really closely together and see what they're like. The next challenge is for read a book that's older than you. So obviously, War of the Worlds is older than me. But I'm also going to read another classic which I've been meaning to read for a long time, and which actually is kind of linked to a film that's just come out, and that's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So I've never seen any of the Alice in Wonderland films, and I've never read it, but I know it's one of those stories that everyone kind of knows about anyway, and I'm just really intrigued to read it. I've also seen a new series which has come out recently by an author called Christina Henry, which is kind of a dark twist, kind of horror twist on the Alice in Wonderland story, which I'm really intrigued to read over the next few weeks as well. So I want to read this in prep so I can really fully appreciate what that is. So a couple of the challenges now are things which you kind of non-book specific. So for example, one of the challenges is to read a book only after sunset. That's quite hard at the minute because in the UK where I am, the sun isn't going down till about 9:30. So that means I'm going to probably read one of the shorter ones at some point, just in one evening, start at 9:30ish and try and get it finished that one evening. That's a really interesting challenge, and it's going to really encourage me to bulk read something I've not done that in a long time. Another one of the challenges is to read a book that you've discovered via BookTube. So having worked in a bookshop, this is quite difficult because I interact with a lot of varied books on a daily basis. So I've kind of already seen or know of most books that are discussed on here anyway. But there was one book I'd been looking at, I'd not really thought about reading it, and then I saw Jen Campbell talk about it on her channel, which I'll also link down below, and that's Arcadia by Ian Pears. So it's a book that actually, from looking at it, I wouldn't have thought it was my cup of tea, but hearing what Jen said about it reading the back, I'm really excited to give it a read. I am reading it on my Kindle, which is why I'm not waving the book around, but it's just one I'm really interested to read, and I think it's a good mixture of sci-fi and fiction and quite literary ideas that I think I'll really enjoy. The last challenge then, challenge number 7, is to read 7 books in the 7 days. So anyone that's been doing the maths and counting as we go has seen I've picked 6 books out so far. So I need one more book to finish it off, and it only feels right at this time of the year when everything's getting all hyped up for the new book to release for me to read Harry Potter Book 1. I want to read all of the books again over the next few weeks, and so I'm going to start with this. It's probably going to be the last one I read. I cannot wait to read it. I'm so excited to get back into this world. I've not read them since the last book came out, which is God knows how many years ago now, and I'm really excited to start off with them again. And I think actually, because none of the books I picked are too long, it's quite an achievable 7 books. I could read 7 books in 7 days. I've not done that in a long time, but I think this is a really good chance to give that a go. So there we have it. They are the 7 books plus Arcadia, which is going to be, pretend it's there, which I'm going to be reading over the next 7 days for BookTubeAthon. I'm going to try and post a couple of updates this week as to how I'm going, what I've read, whether I think I'm actually going to achieve it, but I'm really excited to interact with everybody else doing it, see what all you guys in the comments are saying about it, what you think about it all, and I just cannot wait to get started on it. I'm going to try and start reading at midnight on Sunday night so I can really get into it, and I'm really hoping I managed to achieve the 7 books. So that's about it from me then. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. All your feedback's really appreciated, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think about all of this. And other than that, I'll see you soon with my next video.